welcome back. Second hour of Fantasy Sports today here on SportsGrid. We're going to preview all the weekend matchups in fantasy baseball. So let's get started, George, and take a look at the Reds at the Cubs in the National League Central. Nick Lodolo starts today for Cincinnati. The Cubs have not named a starter as of yet. On Sunday, it's Nick Martinez versus Jamison Taillon. I mean, the only thing that I want to know, George, when the Cubs play is who's going to try and get Pete Crow Armstrong out. Nobody's been able to do it.
I mean, fantastic. See, this guy's a fantasy league winner, right? An absolute fantasy league winner for what he's doing, stealing bases, power. And you drafted him later on in your draft, right? You didn't get him in the first couple of rounds here because we didn't know this was coming. So he's been utterly awesome here. Reds won yesterday. Cubs, man, Craig, if they're willing to make an addition or two at the deadline, maybe they can compete with the Phillies and the Dodgers of the world. It'd be really interesting. I'm sort of hoping they do here. But they've been a really good story. Although the Cubs are the odds-on favorite to win that division, so we shouldn't be too surprised here. Reds, I mentioned, and I have a ticket on them to win the division. We'll make the playoffs, maybe both. So we'll see how that works out here. But probably haven't played as well as I thought they would this season here. But they're the first game off the board today at 2:20. So looking forward to that. But hard not to like the Cubbies.
Agreed. All right, A's and Blue Jays. You definitely want to be fading the A's right now. They're just not playing great, although Gunnar Hoglund will pitch today for the A's. Maybe they'll get a break here because it looks like Toronto has an opener. Braylon Fisher is the announced starter for Toronto. Pitched very well, but mostly out of the bullpen. J.P. Sears Sunday against Kevin Gausman. That's the better of the two matchups. Maybe the A's finally get it going today, George, but just nothing has gone their way.
Listen, I think the A's will hit. I think fantasy-wise, we're probably going to love this, right? There's going to be a lot of action in this game. Every game's gone over in this series here. I don't see that changing today. I think I should have checked with the over. It's probably 10.5 for this game. But, yeah, the A's aren't playing well. They're hitting solid. The Jays can hit at home. They can't hit on the road. Man, that Jays-Texas series earlier this week was like, oh, my God, watch it paint dry, as neither team could hit. So it is what it is there. So, yeah, I think I love our batters here. Probably not going to like the pitching outside of Gausman tomorrow.
Also on Saturday, really good pitching matchups both days between the St. Louis Cardinals and Texas Rangers. Just a matter of if the Rangers showed what they did last night, they'll be fine, but they just haven't done that all season long. So Sonny Gray starts today for St. Louis. For Texas, it looks like it's going to be Patrick Corbin, left-handed pitcher, who will start on Saturday. And then George, a better matchup maybe of the two. Eric Fetty looks to me like Jacob deGrom is going to get that Sunday start. I think we probably need to, kind of circle back. I mean, look, it's still a long way to go, but Jacob deGrom is, a third of the season healthy, George. And, the other thing, too, is that you can see he's kind of cut back a little on the strikeouts, where normally if he was pitching 60 innings in a major league season, you probably would say, all right, he's probably struck out 80, but less than a strikeout per inning. Maybe that's what's keeping him healthy.
Well, he said that, right? He said it during spring training that he wasn't going to throw as hard here because maybe that's why he had the arm injuries here, going max velocity every pitch. I think it's become he's smarter. Knowing you don't need to listen. You don't have to throw the ball 99 to get major league batters out. You don't need to do that. And his arms obviously his body's not built to do that anyway here. So it's been great to see because he's been fantastic, right? Really been really good here. It was a little weird in Monday's start against Gausman, by the way, and the Blue Jays, where he went 5 1/3 and didn't strike out a batter. First time in his career that he started a game and didn't strike out somebody. So is what it is there. But yeah, I expect him to pitch very well tomorrow. I don't really have any doubt about that. Patrick Corbin, I don't know. Soul to the devil, pumpkin, whatever. I don't never saw this coming. He's a guy, Greg. You could have given me $100 and I wouldn't put him on my roster. But he's been very good this season here. Gray and Fetty, they're kind of funny. Cardinals wanted to get rid of both, right? They tried to trade both. Gray had the 10-5, so he turned it down. Nope, not going anywhere. And I guess Fetty, they weren't getting the offers they were hoping to get for him. Arenado didn't want to leave either. I guess St. Louis is a really nice place to play. But we'll see. Will St. Louis make additions at the deadline if he keeps playing this well? They're in a wild card spot right now. They're playing well. But I wonder if they realize it doesn't matter. This is a retooling year, rebuilding year, whatever you want to call it here. And we're not going to give away future assets to go for it this year when we know we can't win the World Series.
Agreed. All right, White Sox and Orioles. Orioles maybe with an outside shot to sort of get things going, but it is the White Sox. Hard to endorse, honestly, anybody there. We've got Davis Martin starting for the White Sox today. You could pick a random player generator, and I would have believed that that's fine. This is the guy. Dean Kramer starts for Baltimore. Hey, Adrian Hauser, George, out of nowhere has come up for the White Sox and has looked really good lately. So maybe that could be a potential, plus money sleeper there. Charlie Morton's back in the Orioles rotation. His ERA is not 9 anymore. It's now 7.
A lot of us, by the way, were not happy earlier this week. Charlie Morton had lost every game he'd appeared in this year. All right. Or the team had lost. So he was starting a game earlier this week. It was 12 losses here. Okay, we're good. And of course he wins. All right. He pitched very well here. And listen, maybe he'll do so again tomorrow. It is the White Sox here. So I wouldn't doubt it. I thought the same as you, by the way. Can the Orioles come back now? They're starting to hit a little bit. Then you realize they're 20-36. They were god awful. Awful here. They're only 2 games better than the White Sox. So their season's probably over. And they're, we're starting to wonder, could they trade Felix Bautista? He doesn't look great either, by the way, coming back from TJ. But could they trade some other guys too? We mentioned O'Hearn earlier in the show. It's what this is turning out to be for the Orioles. Sad, really kind of sad here. Bottom line is this: if Morton's out there, you need a spot start. Fine, it's the White Sox. They're terrible. Why not?
Good luck to you with that. Brewers and the Phillies. Jesus Luzardo, one of the best pitchers in baseball this season, leads in WAR in baseball for starting pitchers. He faces Chad Patrick, also a pretty good pitcher, by the way, for the Brewers. Jose Quintana on Sunday against Ranger Suarez. I think 4 pretty decent matchup pitchers this week.
Yeah, Luzardo's been great. Right, he's been absolutely great. We were talking earlier on the show trying to figure out where Mackenzie Gore would go in the Cy Young rankings of the National League, and I would have Luzardo ahead of him. Luzardo's been really good. Nice move that's paying off. The Cubs tried to get him too, but he ended up going to Philadelphia here. Quintana will return from the IL tomorrow to pitch for Milwaukee here. I do not like starting pitchers when they first come off the IL. He hasn't been out a hell of a long time. He's been out over a month. I'm definitely not doing it. But, he's been out a couple of weeks here. But also pitching in Philadelphia. I'll probably stay away from Quintana, though. I'm surprised this guy didn't have a job most of all. It took him a while before somebody signed him. He's been, once again, I know he's got to be a pitcher. He's not a thrower anymore. But he's been really good here. Ranger Suarez has been solid for Philadelphia. No issues with him.
Angels and Guardians also face off this weekend. Now we're going to get to the fun part of the show where we try and figure out who the starters are in some of these games. So for today, the Angels will start Kyle Hendricks. His ERA is above 5 for the year. Slade Ciccone starts today for the Cleveland Guardians. He's pitched about a dozen innings this season. And then on Sunday, we get some other random names here. Jack Kachanowicz against Gavin Williams here. The A's had a lot of fun here for a couple of weeks, George. They're hitting the ball, starting to win some games, and of course, things sort of slid a little bit. Look, the Angels definitely can hit the ball. Hoppe can hit and Ward can hit. Pitching is still going to be an issue for them.
Yeah, you got Mike Trout's back, right? Zach Neto can hit as well, but you're right. The pitching is not good. Kachanowicz is blah. And Kyle Hendricks probably shouldn't be on a major league roster at this point. Just not as a starter. Maybe he's a long guy. Guy's going to eat up some innings here. Gavin Williams is the guy, he teases me every year, right? I always want to believe it. Cleveland's one of the better pitcher ballparks here, so you think he'd be good there. And Cleveland seems to develop pitching out of nowhere, but he just can't seem to put it together. No consistency here. That being said, it's the Angels. I'm probably in Cleveland. I'm probably still willing to give it a shot here, but I'm that guy who has a tough time. For whatever reason, I just can't give up on Gavin Williams.
Yeah, would agree. All right, let's do this. We'll take a quick time out here on Fantasy Sports Today. When we come back next, the very best pitcher in the American League is on the mound today. We'll preview that. And also, can the Rockies pull off a miracle this weekend in New York? More Fantasy Sports Today next.
Falcons are actually relieved that he's kind of not there to create more of a distraction. Look, I said it the day it happened. It was one of the stupider decisions I've ever seen by a professional NFL franchise to sign a quarterback to a $180 million contract and then draft his replacement exactly 5 weeks later. This was a terrible organizational decision by the Falcons. Now, they're going to spin this, and this is what's annoying about the Falcons and their PR staff. They're going to spin this as if this is the plan we had all along. This is the plan that when, Kirk Cousins either got hurt or didn't play well or got too old, we were going to have Penix come in. And guess what? The new plan is now we're going to keep Kirk Cousins as a backup. So if Michael Penix gets hurt, we told you so. We were right for keeping him on the roster. We were smart for keeping him here. No, this whole thing has been an abject disaster.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Steelers' interested in Aaron Rodgers as a joke. Your boy went off about the entire situation and why it taken so long to forget him. Terry Bradshaw getting involved.
Yeah, and saying basically, what are you bringing him in for 1 year? All of this drama for 1 year at this guy, where he is now in his career is he's washed.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports today here on SportsGrid. Best pitcher in the American League, probably in baseball. I mean, is there any debate really at this point? Tariq Skubal, who won the Cy Young Award, is going to probably win it again in the American League's favorite to win against Michael Wacha coming up later today. And then on Sunday, the Tigers will start Keider Montero against Chris Bubik. The Tigers have the best record in the American League, George, on the strength of their pitching. What's interesting about Detroit, George? I think they're probably going to have a really good year. It was my pick to win the World Series. I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen, but you know what I think is going to happen, George, after the year? All of the staff of the Tigers, like their pitching staff, their bench staff, I think they're all going to get jobs next year, because usually when a team like this takes this big a step, you credit a lot of the coaching and front office.
Right, so listen, that's good. I hope that does happen for them. I think Joe went on the IL, right? Speaking of their pitching here, you're right about Skubal, by the way. And by the way, you and I probably both sort of screwed him, or maybe the segment screwed him because of the way it's worded here. But remember, he had a great start, his last start, but neither one of them put him on as our ace of the week because that start was on Sunday. So it was after our Saturday show, but depending on how you look at it, not this week. We probably looked from Monday on. We didn't include Sunday, but he was. I mean, what was his last pitch, 102? I mean, this guy's fantastic. Just wow. I certainly wish I had him in more fantasy leagues. And I got to wonder, is he going to be a first-round pick next year? Because I don't like taking pitchers in the first round, but I do wonder if he'll be a first-round pick in fantasy. But he's been great. Walker's been so-so. You want to talk about another guy, about Bubik, by the way. Where did this guy come from? He's pitching very well for Kansas City also. All right, Seth Lugo, by the way, came back last night for the Royals and once again did not pitch well. First start from IL. This is why I don't like starting guys when they first go back from the IL. Last night's pretty much, example A there. But Bubik, fantastic for the Royals.
I think today's game, if I'm not mistaken, between the Rockies and the Mets, I think this is the biggest money line of the season in Major League Baseball. I think this is it. I'm pretty sure. Kodai Senga and the Mets are minus 450, George, in a single baseball game against the Colorado Rockies. I think this is it. I saw like 410 a couple games when they played the Yankees and stuff, but I have not seen a minus 450 in a single baseball game this season, and this is it. So Senga against the Rockies. And then on Sunday, left-handed pitcher Carson Palmquist starts for the Rockies. His ERA is 8. He's actually been really good in the minors. I've heard of this guy. but the line tomorrow will not be minus 450. It'll be like minus 370 or something like that tomorrow. But George, I mean, I wonder what the single biggest line is in an individual baseball game in the last like 10 years. This feels like it's as close as it can be. I've never seen minus 500 for one game in baseball ever.
Once again, I'll take the field. I'm sure there has been no game, but I don't remember it either. I got 420 right now, so a little weird that in New York we get a better price than you. You would think in New York would be even higher, more Met fans, right, betting the game. Listen, betting-wise, you can't bet that. You can put in a parlay, probably a three-way parlay just to get plus money if that's what you're looking
Take the
for
other
here.
side.
Even the run line, by the way, Craig, is minus 182. And that's nuts too. I know. By the way, I've seen higher run lines. I saw a minus 190 earlier this week because I was complaining about it. Obviously, I wanted to bet it and I could not. So it is what it is here with the Mets. The Colorado's terrible. All right, what was that little headline we had? They're searching for their 10th win. They've been searching for a week now. So we'll see. I don't see it coming this weekend. I think Sagan does great. Clay Holmes does great. And, hey, we know what's going to happen. My only question is, do the Mets score some runs here for us fantasy-wise? All right, the Mets have been great pitching all year long. They haven't hit like we thought they were going to hit. It's not just Juan Soto. They're struggling with runners in scoring position. Mets 28th in baseball, runners in scoring position.
We've got the Rays taking on the Astros. Should be some good matchups this weekend. Saturday, not as good as Sunday, but Zach Littell starts for the Rays today against Colton Gordon, left-handed pitcher who takes over for Blanco. Sunday, it's Taj Bradley against one of the AL's best in Hunter Brown. Houston quietly, George, is climbing up a little bit here in the American League Central, just like they did a year ago.
They do this every damn year. All right. They're in first place in the West. Okay. First place. They're not climbing up. They're in first place. I mean, and it seems like they've had a bad year, right? It just seems like they've had a bad year. Now, they're only 5 games above 500. I get it. That's a weak division. But, hey, they're in first place there. Seattle is behind by a half game after last night's results here. And there's no Jordan Alvarez, right? He's been out a while now. They should get – they think they're going to get him back this week. All right, Altuve's been so-so. Pena's carrying the team of late. Christian Walker, terrible start. Then he got hot again, so he's going up there. Isaac Paredes has really been pretty quiet there. So they have that. In my mind, they have room for improvement. But you mentioned earlier in the show, Blanco's gone now. They're going to need pitching reinforcements outside of Lance McCullers. So they'll need to make a move sooner or later. But in a division where no one's running away from it, they're going to be around all year again.
Let's get to the Red Sox and Braves. Walker Buehler on the mound for Boston today in Atlanta against Spencer Schwellenbach. And then Sunday, you got the premium matchup of Garrett Crochet against Spencer Strider, who finally lost against Philadelphia earlier in the week.
Yeah, they weren't really very happy that he hit Bryce Harper, right? Who still hasn't played a game. Haven't checked if he's going to be in today's starting lineup, but Harper got hit in that elbow. X-ray's negative, but he still hasn't played since. Strider hasn't been himself yet. The Braves also don't score in his starts. So it's been a twofold problem there. Braves beat up on Boston and Fenway last weekend, but hey, last night Giolito shut them down here. So we'll see if that trend continues here. Walker Buehler is another guy I just can't get away from. I think he could be a really good pitcher. We'll see. He got thrown out of the game there. I think was it against Boston? Oh, no, against the Mets in Boston. So he got thrown out there. And it's so start next. We'll see what he can do against Atlanta here. Acuna's back. We're waiting for the Braves to take off now. Now you got Acuna back. Now you got Strider back. Sort of waiting for them to take off, right? I just don't know if they're going to be able to do that, Craig. You got Grant Holmes in the rotation, Elder. It's going to be tough to win those games over and over again, especially when your offense for over a year now is not hitting like we thought they would hit.
All right, we'll take a quick time out on Fantasy Sports today. The matchup I was at last night. I'll have a recap of the Marlins and Giants and preview the weekend as well. You're watching Fantasy Sports today here on SportsGrid as we'll take a quick time out and be back with more on this Saturday morning right after these messages. So stay with us here on the grid. We'll be right back.
Falcons are actually relieved that he's kind of not there to create more of a distraction. Look, I mean, I said it the day it happened. It was one of the stupider decisions I've ever seen by a professional NFL franchise to sign a quarterback to a $180 million contract and then draft his replacement exactly 5 weeks later. This was a terrible organizational decision by the Falcons. Now, they're going to spin this, and this is what's annoying about the Falcons and their PR staff. They're going to spin this as if this is the plan we had all along. This is the plan that when, Kirk Cousins either got hurt or didn't play well or got too old, we were going to have Penix come in. And guess what? The new plan is now we're going to keep Kirk Cousins as a backup. So if Michael Penix gets hurt, we told you so. We were right for keeping him on the roster. We were smart for keeping him here. No, this whole thing has been an abject disaster.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Steelers' interested in Aaron Rodgers as a joke. Your boy went off about the entire situation and why it taken so long to forget him. Terry Bradshaw getting involved.
Yeah, and saying basically, what are you bringing him in for 1 year? All of this drama for 1 year at this guy, where he is now in his career is he's washed.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right. Boy, I'm glad stuff off air doesn't make it on the air. All right. Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Today here on SportsGrid. I was at the game yesterday with the Marlins and Giants. A little bit of a dud, to be honest with you. Kyle Harrison pitched great, and then Bob Melvin just started throwing all kinds of relief pitchers at Miami. They couldn't recover. 2-0 the final. So today, Giants got their ace going again. I mean, actually, Logan Webb is the ace, but Robbie Ray has pitched like an ace. Undefeated, George, this season, left-handed pitcher. Edward Cabrera coming off an incredible start. This could be a really good pitching matchup today, Saturday. And then Sunday, it's Hayden Birdsong against Ryan Weathers, who's pitched very well also. But Giants pitchings look good.
Yeah, certainly leaning towards the under in either one of these games. You said it about Robbie Ray. He looks like the Cy Young guy he was. The only question with Ray is always control. He's going to walk some batters and put himself in trouble that way. But other than that, he's been fantastic this season. You're certainly starting him. Actually, you might be starting all these guys this weekend because neither team's got the greatest of offenses here. You're playing in Miami, pitcher's ballpark here. So I wouldn't be expecting a lot of action this weekend as far as offensively here. But Ray is probably the headliner.
Let's get to the Twins and Mariners, George. Let's start off Saturday with Bailey Ober against Bryce Miller. Good to see him pitching well. Chris Paddock starts Sunday for the Twins against Luis Castillo. Who do you prefer in these matchups?
Once again, there's a lot of pitchers that you can go with here. I would not start Bryce Miller first game off the IL. He wasn't pitching all that well beforehand anyway, but good to see him back. He's a guy I'll look at next week when he starts here, but not today. Buxton did come back for the Minnesota Twins last night, so he's back in the lineup there. Everybody else, Paddock was that guy we could have been talking about last week as far as a two-starter guy. All right, guy to add to your lineup there because he's a guy who's on my watch list here. I mentioned I might pick him up pretty much right after the show. For Sharver, Castillo, you're starting there, and you're likely starting Bailey Ober too. I think all these guys are definite possible starts for you, with the exception of Bryce Miller.
All right, let's get to the Saturday and Sunday matchups in the World Series rematch, George. The Yankees and Dodgers. It's the World Series rematch, George. I don't know if you're aware of that at this point. These two teams played each other in the World Series last year. Did you know that? World Series?
I mentioned last night, man, if you were playing a drinking game, you'd have been bombed before Ohtani hit his first home run with every time the Apple announcer said World Series rematch. All right. There's like, oh my God. If you didn't know, by the way, what are you? You're from Mars? I mean, how do you not know this is the World Series? I didn't need you to tell me 17 times. Okay. I didn't need it.
Not Mars.
17 seems to be my favorite number today. I mean, boy, World Series rematch, and yet your Saturday night is Will Warren versus Landon Knack.
Yikes.
Warren's pitched pretty well of late. Yankee rookie starter there. Landon Knack is just there because, once again, Dodgers are, what do they have, 14 pitchers on the IL? And that's not a joke, by the way. I think it is. I think they have 14 players on the IL. 8 of them are their pitching staff. So, wow. So it is what it is here. Should be run scored tonight there, I would think. Ball was flying out of Dodger Stadium last night, right? So I think that sort of continues tonight there. Ohtani likely to hit another one. He leads the league with 21. Tomorrow, Yamamoto, who I expect to shut down the Yankees. It says to be determined for the Yankees. I think the Yankees are going to play this game, by the way. If they lose tonight, I think Rodon's going tomorrow. If they win tonight, then it'll be Yarbrough. It is Yarborough's spot in the rotation, but the Yankees did have a day off Thursday, so theoretically they could throw Rodon. They also have a day off on Monday, so once again they could play this game here. But either way, it might not go well for the Yankees this weekend, especially if they do not win tonight.
Padres and Pirates squaring off Saturday. Bailey Falter starts for the Pirates against Dylan Cease. And then on Sunday, we have Andrew Heaney going for Pittsburgh against Randy Vasquez. Pirates have also been a team, George, struggling to score runs. I know they picked it up a little bit lately, but they'd like to get a.
Yeah, this is not a shock. Their offense is not that great here. Dylan Cease, we need to see him pitch better, right? Sort of waiting for that to pitch just like Dylan Cease. Like there were some rumors, by the way, they might trade him before the season started, right? New ownership there, maybe move from the contract. Tomorrow, he needs to cost me some money this year, as I haven't been able to get him right there. Probably staying away from that game.
All right, and then Nationals and Diamondbacks tonight. Michael Soroka against Brandon Pfaadt, and then on Sunday it's Mitchell Parker against ace Corbin Burns.
Yeah, seen some runs here. Washington's playing well. James Wood keeps hitting home runs here, and I'm going to keep betting it, by the way, as far as anytime home runs. He's looked great. Pfaadt's been pretty good for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Parker's been pretty good for the Washington Nationals. Corbin Burns is a must-start.
Agreed. We'll take a quick timeout on Fantasy Sports Today. Gray Albright of Razzballs up next.
Falcons are actually relieved that he's kind of not there to create more of a distraction. Look, I mean, I said it the day it happened. It was one of the stupider decisions I've ever seen by a professional NFL franchise to sign a quarterback to a $180 million contract and then draft his replacement exactly 5 weeks later. This was a terrible organizational decision by the Falcons. Now, they're going to spin this, and this is what's annoying about the Falcons and their PR staff. They're going to spin this as if this is the plan we had all along. This is the plan that when, Kirk Cousins either got hurt or didn't play well or got too old, we were going to have Penix come in. And guess what? The new plan is now we're going to keep Kirk Cousins as a backup. So if Michael Penix gets hurt, we told you so. We were right for keeping him on the roster. We were smart for keeping him here. No, this whole thing has been an abject disaster.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rhythm. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Steelers' interest in Aaron Rodgers as a joke. Your boy went off about the entire situation and why it's taken so long to forget him. Terry Bradshaw getting involved.
Yeah, and saying basically, what are you bringing him in for 1 year? All of this drama for 1 year at this guy, where he is now in his career is he's washed.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports today here on Sports Grid. Gray Albright is with us of Razzball, getting you ready for the week ahead in fantasy baseball. Ads, drops, streaminators, lineup optimizers. Gray's got it going on. Gray, great to have you back here on Fantasy Sports today. Matchup of the century last night, right? In your neck of the woods in Los Angeles. Shohei Ohtani homers, and homers again, and the Dodgers end up winning. Aaron Judge homered as well. We just can't get enough of this matchup. You want to talk about Minnesota and Seattle, you're going to have to probably look somewhere else. I know that we love those matchups for fantasy, but the world is like locked into this Yankees-Dodgers series.
Yeah, no, I know. My friend actually had seats right behind home plate, and they sent pictures to me, and I was pretty jealous. I would have loved to have gone out there. I'm pretty close actually to Dodger Stadium, but unfortunately I didn't make it out to the game. But I did watch it. Shohei is like otherworldly, man. I know we say this, but are we really appreciating major surgery? And he has a pace of 60 homers this year, just like nothing. Like this year I'm not going to be able to steal bases, so I'll just hit more homers. Like we're not even in June yet, and he has 22 homers. It's so crazy. Every time I think about Shohei Ohtani, I sort of just like lose like any sort of sense of like a fantasy. Oh, you have to maintain some distance and not become a fan. But yeah, Shohei Ohtani really makes it difficult. He's so amazing. And Aaron Judge, of course. I mean, Aaron Judge just barely hitting under 400. Last night he hit his 19th homer. He's also so good. It's really like we're in a time when we have some special players at the top of the game for sure.
Otani's a freak, an absolute freak. He's going to start pitching soon too. We'll see what kind of pitcher he's going to be there. Just an absolute freak. But you're right, we probably don't appreciate what we're seeing enough, because we've never seen this before. Just never seen it. I'm going to stick with the Dodgers here. We talked about it earlier in the show. Mookie Betts got the fractured toe. Apparently, going to the bathroom at night, stubbed it against the wall. Who hasn't been there? My question though is, are you? Let's just say for giggles that he doesn't start tonight and tomorrow. They said he's not going to, so I'm going to assume that. But maybe he pinch hits. Are you on a weekly lineup? Would you risk it and start him this week?
No. I would probably bench him. I think with Mookie, just in general, even if you bench him and he is like on the field and playing, what are you really going to miss? I mean, as great as Mookie was in past seasons, this year right now he's sitting at a 8 homer, 5 steal, 254 average season. That's fine. I mean, right? I mean, it's not like you're going to miss anything that amazing. I would say in most leagues you can probably replace him with someone off of waivers for at least a couple days, if not a week, to see what his toe situation is like. The Dodgers are saying that he's not going to miss more than a couple days, but we've heard this before from teams. I wouldn't be surprised if they get to Monday and they're like, you know what, it doesn't make sense for them to really risk it and to have him play, because like if you have Mookie Betts injured now, what happens in September? Is he going to be injured for the whole season? Like, it doesn't really make any sense for them to keep playing him, because they're not really playing for right now. I mean, they're playing to get healthy and be ready for the playoffs. That's what the Dodgers really are doing.
Great. Another big injury in baseball this week. We've lost another starter, A.J. Smith-Shawver of the Atlanta Braves, who was the favorite over on FanDuel to win the Rookie of the Year. Braves do get Ronald Acuna back, and Spencer Strider is now back too. They definitely need more offense from Riley, who hit a home run this week, and Olsen, and definitely Michael Harris. Gray, do you think the Braves still have all these fantasy commodities like they have the last couple of years? It does feel like another season where they're kind of fighting through these wacky injuries again, and based on where Smith Shawver was taken in fantasy draft boards, you're not going to be able to replace a guy like that was drafted, and now you don't get anything from him the rest of the year.
Right. Yeah, no, I know. It was pretty disappointing. It was also like he was on the mound and he was shaking his arm for a pitch or two, and it was like, is Brian Snicker, the manager, is he watching the game? I know he didn't watch the game earlier when Jared Kalenic was not running out a double. So I don't know really how much the maybe Snicker likes to, like, he doesn't want to do spoilers. So he's like back at the clubhouse after the game and he's like, whoa, first pitch. This is cool. Yeah, I feel like the Braves now 2 years in a row, like last year we were saying that, they were underperforming, and it's like Acuna got hurt, Albies got hurt, Harris got hurt. Harris always gets hurt. Murphy was hurt. So it was like, okay, so it was a down year because of injuries, and they underperformed, and everyone bought back in March this year because it was like, okay, this is going to be the bounce back for everyone. Everyone's coming back. Acuna's going to be healthy. Albies going to be healthy. So we're now a couple months in, and everyone looks healthy, but not really that good anymore. I don't know. It's a weird year for the Braves because Olsen, he seems to have gotten old. Riley has just sort of plateaued at this 27 home over the course of 162. He looks like a 27 homer, 5 steal, 270 hitter, which is fine, but it's also very replaceable considering where you're drafting him in the top 25, 30. Really a bright spot has been Drake Baldwin, who has sort of taken over for Sean Murphy, and he's been catching, most days, and he looks good. Drake Baldwin's a surprise, but most of the guys like Ozzie Albies looks disappointing. Acuna just came back. I mean, he looked great in his 2 games. The first 2 games he came back. I'm sure he's going to be fine. Hopefully, knock on wood. Marcell Azuna's even sort of looked a little bit less than he looked last year, unfortunately. He was really good last year, so I'm not going to take that away from him. But, yeah, I mean, the Braves just haven't really performed that well. I have high hopes still for Albies because I think he's still got power. He's still got speed. He looks healthy. I like Albies still. I still like Acuna. I'm a little bit down on Matt Olson because of the age, and I'm a little bit down on Austin Riley just because, Austin Riley looks like he is what he is, but that isn't that amazing for fantasy. So I think Austin Riley's actually name value is a bit more than his actual fantasy value right now.
Greg, got about a minute here. How do you approach top rookies still in the minor leagues? Caglione, Roman Anthony, Bubba Chandler. Do you want to strike early in Fab before their prices go up here? Or do you not want to waste a roster spot for a week, 2, 3, a month, whatever it might be here? How are you approaching top guys?
If you have room, I would be stashing those guys right now. Like Bubba Chandler, I don't know if you mentioned him, but I would be stashing Chandler. I'd be stashing Anthony. I'd be stashing Jack Caglione. I think possibly like Roman Anthony could be a top 50 player immediately when he gets called up. Caglione looks like he's got great power. I'm also very interested in him. And Chandler potentially could be maybe a number 3. Rookie pitchers are really sort of like iffy when they first come up. So I'm a little bit less so on the rookie pitchers, but rookie hitters, I'm all about. I get in. If you can stash them, get in now. I love them all.
Yeah, would agree. It feels like Roman Anthony is the most imminent at this point. I'm talking about it every day. All right, Greg, great to see you again. Have a great weekend.
All right, late.
Buy or sell. Coming up next on Fantasy Sports.
Falcons are actually relieved that he's kind of not there to create more of a distraction. Look, I said it the day it happened. It was one of the stupider decisions I've ever seen by a professional NFL franchise to sign a quarterback to a $180 million contract and then draft his replacement exactly 5 weeks later. This was a terrible organizational decision by the Falcons. Now, they're going to spin this, and this is what's annoying about the Falcons and their PR staff. They're going to spin this as if this is the plan we had all along. This is the plan that when, Kirk Cousins either got hurt or didn't play well or got too old, we were going to have Penix come in. And guess what? The new plan is now we're going to keep Kirk Cousins as a backup. So if Michael Penix gets hurt, we told you so. We were right for keeping him on the roster. We were smart for keeping him here. No, this whole thing has been an abject disaster.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live, your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Steelers' interest in Aaron Rodgers as a joke. Your boy went off about the entire situation and why it taken so long to forget him. Terry Bradshaw getting involved.
Yeah, and saying basically, what are you bringing him in for 1 year? All of this drama for 1 year at this guy, where he is now in his career is he's washed.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. Fantasy Sports Today here on SportsGrid. George, you got a big weekend ahead for you here on the grid? You on any in-game live programming? I mean, I know, if I'm not mistaken, the Stanley Cup Finals begins Wednesday, so we have a few days off. Do you have a opinion on that? Is it going to be the Panthers again?
I don't know. Listen, the Panthers are a damn good team here, but the Edmonton Oilers look like a team that they want. I know it sounds stupid. Oh, they want the cup. No, but they want the cup. They're not the team that we thought they were, or that they always were. High flying offense, going to score 6 goals. They're playing rough, tough, nasty hockey, which you have to play against the Panthers because the Panthers are rough, tough, and nasty. I think it's going to be a very good series, rematch of last year. For those who don't remember, Florida 1-7. Florida won the first 3 games. Then Edmonton won the next 3, which in the NHL, by the way, never happens. You do not come back from 3-0. Florida won Game 7 here. I think you get reverse. I think Edmonton's going to win this year. Canada's going to get their Stanley Cup back here. I think it's going to be a great series. Edmonton is the favorite by about -130 if you look now. But they just look like that team that wants it. They just really, really want it. And I think Connor McDavid just might take this series over.
It's a home ice advantage for Edmonton. All right, let's wrap up with a little buy or sell. Nobody gives any credit to the American League Central. It's like the division nobody wants to talk about, but Detroit is at the top. Kansas City is right there. So is Cleveland. And Minnesota, who was left for dead in April, have had a fantastic May. George, buy or sell? The American League Central will have 2 90-win teams this year. I think we probably agree Detroit, barring some catastrophe, is going to get to 90. Will there be another?
All right. I agree. Listen, Detroit will get to 90, right? So we'll give them that. Minnesota, Cleveland. Right now, they're right around pace for 90-91. I think they both might be playing a little bit above their heads here. Boy. Yeah. I'm gonna sell this. I'm gonna say no. Things will happen second half of the season. I don't know if either one's gonna be big buyers on the a trade market to really reinforce your team here. So I think it'll be close. But no, I think this is a good question, Sam. If it would have been 88, which I know sounds silly, 2 wins, I probably would say yes. But 90, I'm gonna sell this. I'm gonna say no, but it'll be damn close.
Sell for me too. We're in agreement here. I like to. I mean, what do you want me to lie? You want me to say buy? I'll lie if you want. I don't see it. I do see several teams in the 80 to 90 win range, but I am going to sell this. I'm going to go. Well, I picked Detroit at the beginning of the season here. Probably only one on SportsGrid. So I'll go Detroit wins 94. I'll say Kansas City wins 88. I'll say Cleveland wins 84 and the Twins win 80. That's the direction that I'll go. All right, let's get to pitching here. Mackenzie Gore, nice little debate question we had a little earlier in the show. Let's expand on it. Gore, who is at the top in terms of strikeouts in the National Leagues, had a great year for the Washington Nationals. Buy or sell, Mackenzie Gore of Sam's Nationals is currently a top 10 pitcher in the National League. Buy or sell?
For those who don't know, Sam's yelling at us in our ear because we're not disagreeing. And by the way, Sam, if that was a good first question. This is a bad question because how are we going to disagree on this?
Awful.
I mean, come on. Of course, he's a top 10. Yeah, maybe top 5. We could have an argument here because we did earlier in the show here. Or maybe top 10 in American League. So we're going to yell at Sam about this, okay? And by the way, shocking, he would have a Nationals question here. All right, Mackenzie Gore's been really, really good. So absolutely, he's top 10. I don't think there's any debate here. Let's just debating for the sake of debating here. He's been a top 10. Like I say, the argument's top 5. He's really close to top 5. Now maybe I say top 6, something like that. But yeah, he's absolutely top 10. Been great for the Washington Nationals. Good get for them.
Yeah, this is obviously a buy as of right now, and you'd have a hard time naming 5. I think that are better than him when he pitches. Look, we could say Skeens, Burns. Who else, George? Who am I missing here?
Yamamoto,
maybe
Zach Wheeler, Luzardo.
Yeah, 4.
Logan Webb would have to be in this conversation.
Maybe. I mean, Ray's been better than Gore, probably, right?
Boy. There's a lot. I don't know if I'd go say he's not going deep enough into games for me yet, but he's all in that same category. He's definitely top 10, top 5. I'm going to say no.
All right, let's get to Shohei Ohtani, who has been throwing bullpens. It does appear he's going to pitch this season. Now, will it happen in June? That's sort of the ETA. Remains to be seen. Buy or sell, Ohtani will pitch 75 innings or more this season, George. This is actually a little tougher.
This is a little tough. This is a good question. He threw the wall out. One bullpen. He'll have another bullpen maybe this weekend. It's a little weird, Craig, because he can't pitch in games while rehabbing. Maybe simulcast games, simulated games here. He'll do that, but they're not going to send him down to Albuquerque to go pitch in a game. Even on a day off, they won't do that. So it could take him a little bit longer to get ready here. 75 innings is more than enough to get – listen, they don't care about him pitching in the regular season. It's all about, once again, getting ready for the postseason here. I'm going to sell this, although I don't feel great about it because, once again, we're not asking a lot here. I'll sell this. I think maybe more than 60 range. That's good enough to get him ready for October, which is what they really care about. So I'm going to sell.
I'll buy on Ohtani doing this. But again, I'm going to buy on him returning by July 1st. If he is not back by July 1st, he cannot hit this. If he is July, August, September, let's call it 12 to 15 starts, 5 innings a start, yes, he would hit that. But he's got to come back in the next month. Finally, Aaron Judge right now, triple crowning it. He'll win it. Buy or sell?
Well, he's going to win the average, should win the home run here, so it's all about the RBIs, right? Can the Yankees get on base in front of him? I'm going to buy this. He's not going to hit the 65 home runs this year. He'll do something different. He'll hit the triple crown. Just like I think Ohtani's going to hit more than 60 home runs. Buy.
Yeah, I'll sell because of the batting average. I think somebody ends up catching him there. Still a half of season to go, so I'll sell. All right, we'll take a quick
Goldschmidt, by the way.
Wrap up. What's that, George? Sorry?
Be funny if it was Goldschmidt who caught him for average.
Goldie. Could be. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Actually relieved that he's kind of not there to create more of a distraction. Look, I mean, I said it the day it happened. It was one of the stupider decisions I've ever seen by a professional NFL franchise to sign a quarterback to a $180 million contract and then draft his replacement exactly 5 weeks later. This was a terrible organizational decision by the Falcons. Now, they're going to spin this, and this is what's annoying about the Falcons and their PR staff. They're going to spin this as if this is the plan we had all along. This is the plan that when, Kirk Cousins either got hurt or didn't play well or got too old, we were going to have Penix come in. And guess what? The new plan is now we're going to keep Kirk Cousins as a backup. So if Michael Penix gets hurt, we told you so. We were right for keeping him on the roster. We were smart for keeping him here. No, this whole thing has been an abject disaster.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Steelers' interest in Aaron Rodgers as a joke. Your boy went off about the entire situation and why it taken so long to forget him. Terry Bradshaw getting involved.
Yeah, and saying basically, what are you bringing him in for 1 year? All of this drama for 1 year at this guy, where he is now in his career is he's washed.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports today. Speaking of fantasy, the MVP of fantasy baseball in 2025 is very clear-cut. Is it Aaron Judge? Is it Shohei Ohtani? No. It is Pete Crow Armstrong. And by the way, in that conversation, too, is Seiya Suzuki. In fact, both players, if you have not been paying attention, are the third team in the live ball era to have two players that have 50 runs driven in before June. They join Larry Walker and Todd Helton back in 2001, and Carlos Delgado, who was a fantastic player in fantasy, George, at first base for a number of years. Then Vernon Wells, who had a very bizarre career, was awesome with Toronto, and then went to the Angels, and then it just ended. But yeah, I mean, look, having both of these players in fantasy would, you'd be probably leading in a lot of offensive categories. But there's just no debating that Pete Crow Armstrong has been the single best pick in fantasy baseball this season. It's not debatable.
Oh, I agree. He's been fantastic. And I still hearing Met fans complaining about that deal, because they had PCA and they traded him for Javi Baez. But he's just been great. Like I said, the reason why he's my fantasy MVP is because, once again, you didn't draft him in the early rounds. And he's pretty up as good at numbers as Ohtani and Judge. So he's been just great for the Cubs. Yeah, Suzuki's been really good as well. And you got Kyle Tucker there. And even their lesser players, the Horners, the Bushes, Swanson, they're all producing as well here. Not to that level, mind you, but the offense has just been fantastic. The Cubs are a fun team to watch. Kind of, I wish it was back in the day, Craig, when they were playing all the games during the day. So it's always a day game where I could watch the Cubs, Tuesday at 2:20. I would love that here. But they've just been fantastic. And I think they keep going. And when that wind's blowing out here, take the over.
Time to wrap up our show on this edition of Fantasy Sports Today. George and I each have about a minute of commentary as we wrap it up. It's time now for the SportsGrid 60.
Official scoring in Major League Baseball, let's face it, it sucks. It's terrible. I mean, it's god awful. There are no such things as errors anymore. This skews the game for me. And by the way, pitchers always get screwed here. All right, a 38 hop ground ball, the guy throws it, and he skips it. Oh, it's a hit. Anything that's close, or he would have beaten it out. No, it's anything that's close to a hit, they call it a hit. Even if it's not, you can clearly see on the replay the throw beat the guy there, but he dropped the ball. It's a hit. Craig, you'll never be able to convince me that this wasn't a mandate from Manfred and Major League Baseball because they want the averages to go higher, even though, by the way, what's it going to raise it a point maybe over the course of a season? But they want the averages. They want more hits. They're calling everything a hit. Unless you throw the ball into the 18th row you're getting a hit here. And I just think it's terrible the way they've done it here. I'm a big believer that the official scorer, by the way, should not be associated with the home team. Shouldn't work for whatever team. Should be somebody independent. This way he doesn't owe anything. He's not going to hear it from such and such. Oh, no, that should have been hit. And he'll change the call 2 weeks later. It should be independent. And he should also be the reviewer. Maybe a fifth umpire. So like I say, independent, and that'll be the person who does the reviews as well here. Once again, I think that'll be a little good way to streamline baseball and get more true scoring here. So I always feel bad for pitchers because they're all called hits here, which means the pitcher's ERA is going up, up, up.
We've got one NBA game to go, and then we have to wait a few days for the Stanley Cup Finals. Sort of rare what's going on in hockey, and especially for me to talk about it here to wrap up a show. Here in South Florida, where I live, we're not really used to having these sort of dynasties. We had one, of course, with the big three, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. For a while, the Dolphins played very well with Dan Marino. They didn't win anything. Of course, in 72, they were undefeated. The Marlins have had a couple of championships. But, take a look at what the Florida Panthers are potentially accomplishing, going to 3 straight Stanley Cup Finals with an opportunity to win 2. This may be one of the best dynasties in the history of South Florida. That includes the Miami Hurricanes. It includes all other teams that have played here as well. I guess the bigger question does remain as to what a dynasty actually is. Do you have to win championships to be a dynasty? The Buffalo Bills would tell you, no, we won a lot of AFCs, but we did not win championships. Panthers win this one, though. I got to say, 3 years in a row, winning back-to-back. It does, in fact, make them a dynasty, and one of the more bizarre ones in sports, in Sunrise, Florida, in hockey. Kind of crazy. George, hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you back here next week.
Absolutely. Everybody enjoy. Make your moves here. Let's hope we don't have any injuries this week.
Agreed. All right. We will see you next week. Thanks again to Sam for doing a wonderful job producing. Thanks to Gray Albright for coming on the show. Have a great rest of your weekend. See you back here next week.
Falcons are actually relieved that he's kind of not there to create more of a distraction. The Falcons are actually relieved that he's kind of not there to create more of a distraction.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series with a rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had a